So I'm excited today. As you can see, we're at the NCCER headquarters doing our podcast, and I have Scott Evans with us today. He is the Senior Account Manager at Cemex USA, and more importantly, he's the founder of Invisible PPE. I'm super excited that you're here. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's an honor to be with you, and I enjoy the program, so it's good to contribute.
Great. So I'm going to start how I always do. How in the world did you get into the construction industry and what you're doing now, and how long have you been in the industry?
Yeah, good question. So a lot of the people that I've met, they seem to have been born up into it. So they're second generation, third generation, or some affiliation to it. For me, ironically, my entire family was in construction in some degree. So my dad had 6 other brothers, and one of them was a painter, one was an electrician, one was a carpenter. So they kind of covered all the bases. But unfortunately, by the time we got the divorce or we kind of disconnected, I was still pretty young, so I never really picked up on that. So now, flash ahead, I'm looking for a job. Someone connects me to another gentleman, and next thing you know, I meet the general manager, vice president for Cemex in Orlando. And we kind of go back and forth, and I tell him, I don't have a construction background, and to be honest, I can't even change a tire on a car. And he's like, "Dude, you need to learn how to change a tire."
That's a really
I'm
good
like,
point.
"No, you're right on that one." But anyway, so he goes, I really don't need construction. I have tons of concrete guys, I've got block guys, I've got QC, I got all that, but I don't have a tip of the spear. Like, I have someone that can go out and create orders, like not just take orders. So I was like, okay, so you want me to bring meat back to the cave and kind of learn the business from there? And he said, yeah, go get them. So that's kind of how it started.
That's pretty cool, though. And the reason I always love stories like this is because people get a picture of what they think being in construction means. And we have accountants, we have marketing, we have salespeople, we have business development. Like, we have all of these careers that are within our industry, and people just don't know about them.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think, if you talk to generic people, they won't really see the job sites and some of those things. So you might hear in a conversation, hey, sitting at a street light, like 4 guys standing around, and it's like, hey, what do these guys do? On a conceptual level, you understand, but then when what you see is guys on the side of the road or gals on the side of the road. So it's it's definitely a good opportunity, but a lot of people don't think of it,
They don't. Now, how long have you been with Cemex now?
So nine years.
9 years.
Yeah.
And you seem very passionate still about the industry.
The industry's great. I mean, it's a job, right? So it's all got its challenges and ups and downs. But I've been blessed to be around some of the hardest working, really passionate people about what they do. So it makes it kind of easy for me to kind of compliment it. I will tell you though, it's intimidating, right? Like, you get around these people and that, they specialize, you got plumbers, you got your drywall, you got your, all these different specialties. And then I have to kind of float between closing the deal in the boardroom and then standing on the job site at midnight and all of the above. So it's definitely something you can be passionate about.
Well, and it makes it not monotonous. You get to do a lot of different things. And in fact, right before we started here, you were just at Disney World on a project.
Yeah. I don't know if I can say what it was, but offhand, because they do like Project K, Project Pretzel. But yeah, we did all hands on deck, and I think we poured roughly like 4,000 yards, like over the course of a day and a half. So
it's cool though. I mean, I think people don't think about what we're building, in the industry, and we say we give it this swath of we build the world, but it's we build cool stuff.
We do build cool stuff.
The stuff that people go and enjoy in their off time and they get to do. So I just thought it was really neat that you were just saying, yeah, I was at Disney World last weekend.
No, there's a lot of pride to drive by and go, hey, I provided concrete for that mattress barn or that, Starbucks or what have you. So yeah, I mean, we each look at it differently, but I know there's a sense of pride for depending on what you do.
Absolutely. That's cool. Now, in addition to your day job, you are a mental health and suicide prevention advocate. So tell us what led you to get involved in this.
Yeah, so that's self-proposed. It hasn't been approved from anyone outside, but yeah. So I mean, for me, I kind of came up through childhood trauma, and I was exposed to like violent alcoholism as an only child, and we went through a divorce, and actually through 2 divorces, and so I was exposed to some things like many people. But then I had 2 uncles take their life through suicide, and then my stepfather actually took his life, and so it was like, how do you get to that point, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, much like you were asking about construction, if you're not in it, you're like, hey, I don't understand the nuances of it. So I said, hey, that's never going to apply to me, like, right? So flash ahead, terrible custody battle, financial destruction, so to speak. It ended up being like a 5-year thing. So I filed for divorce, and I felt like I would be the best parent at that time. I didn't seem to get the right shake, and I was always on defense, and it all finally worked itself out. But throughout that process, I just hit a point where, like, I don't have any more resources, and I'm tired of wearing out everyone around me, and they didn't know how to help or what to do, right? And so, I got at a weak point, and I turned to alcohol, like many people do, or some type of substance. And the next thing you know, I chose the exit. And then through the love of my mother and grace, I woke up in a hospital, and that whole process kind of started of, okay, maybe it's not my time, and let's, I got rebuffed, and let's see what happens next. So that said, that's kind of the background. From that point on, I learned that I really didn't want a way out. I wanted a way up. I just didn't know how to do that, right? And so people that were closest to me along the years would call me when they were really down, and I didn't charge for any of this, by the way, which in retrospect I probably should have. But a midnight call in concrete is not uncommon. Where's my mud? What's going on? Is the plant down? Something's happening. But to have friends or people that are close to you call, they say, hey, Scott, I don't know if this is good or bad, but you understand, right? Like, you've been there.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of how my progress went to. And then back to your question, when I got into construction, I mean, you're on a job site at midnight and you smell alcohol in someone's breath, or you see someone that's normally, clowning around and something's wrong, and you're waiting between trucks or something's happening, and maybe they start talking to you. And I started looking at the statistics, and I started syncing my personal experience through what I was seeing at work. And there's just a strong need for, I think, more of a peer-to-peer, like someone that they can relate to. And so that's what's made me a mental health and suicide prevention advocate.
Well, I am super happy that you survived all that, and it sounds like
Thank
you have
you.
an incredible mother. And
Yes,
so,
I do.
absolutely, and that's what you need. I think what's so interesting about this too is, this was something that the construction industry wasn't focusing on, and now we see more focus on mental health. We're starting to see some things, but I don't think people realize, number one, the overall suicide rates in the United States, or even those that are stated for the construction industry. Can you fill us in a little bit about that?
Yeah, so obviously it's an ongoing learning process, and the statistics change every year. But I think the latest one that I had seen, so globally, not construction related, about every 40 seconds someone takes their life. And sadly, you can't turn on the news, or there's celebrity. I know not too long ago, there's 3 young high school girls that took their lives in the Orlando area pretty much at the same time. Statistics are crazy, but in construction, it's 4 to 5 times deaths and suicide than it is job site fatalities. Yeah. It's the highest in of industry of any other industries. I think they had said roughly, and these polls are kind of probably off a little, but 83% of people that were surveyed reported, stress to the extent that they would consider therapy, or where that was maybe a mental health issue, quasi. And then that's not to mention the statistics of, indirect ROI or risk mitigation and expense for rework, legal,
Yeah.
all that kind of thing. I was talking with someone last night. I was on a panel for NAWIC in Orlando, and they were saying that an incident had happened, and the people that were witness to it, or the collateral damage of employees, they had to make mental therapists available, and they had to, so I mean, all of those kinds of things were, I think point to a strong need and attention, and maybe focus more on a peer-to-peer as opposed to a clinical push down. You
Right.
know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's super important. Why do you think the rates are so high in the construction industry?
I think the culture, also, I mean, the culture is one that still, you had mentioned old guard, or, there's still that, I know when I was raised, you got spanked. I don't think anyone knows what that word is. Now it's, you're in timeout or no phone for 30 minutes. It's like, oh, I would have begged for that, right? So I think the culture is you have a big gap between the younger workers, inexperienced workers, or people that are coming in that are learning it, and then the grizzly, gritty, tough men and women that are running it. And in addition to that, I mean, the hazards are pretty strong. The conditions are challenging, the weather, guys and gals have to travel. You don't really necessarily, I know for us, like in the ready mix side, drivers don't know till 4 or 5 o'clock what their schedule is going to be very often, right? So think about that on the back end with the family, like we were going to plan this, or you're trying to, and so all of those things I think combined along with the culture being more focused on the schedule and performance as opposed to the human engine that really is driving everything.
Right. No, and I think you hit on some really good points. My husband always being in the industry, my father being in the industry, so seeing that, I think there is very much that just get it done. Like, we don't have time to talk about it. There's not, I make the point so many times that I could, through all the years that my husband was in the industry, he's 60 now, but as a welder, I could never picture him going up to someone and going, "Hey man, are you okay today?" Like, it wasn't part of his makeup or what he should say or how he would do it. And what I think is happening now is we're shining light on, and you even have this phrase, you said, the most dangerous word on a project site is fine. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what you had mentioned was, I mean, a lot of the people that I've spoken with, they're like, "Hey, I've seen people come on a job site that look crushed. Something was wrong." But
could be family at home, somebody's sick, got a phone call about a distant relative, like it could be anything, right?
Yeah,
the bills, like you said, your bills are piling up. You have all of this and you come to that site and you're expected to check it at the door.
Correct. Which look, I mean, we're a professional, right? This is a career, so we have the job to do, and there's a lot of elements and risk on the site, so you have to be able to check in. But people that aren't comfortable having those conversations, which is a lot of people, I'm telling everyone, you've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
So whether it's dating, I mean, whatever it is, we got to have the courage to push through and show up for somebody. So I created kind of a five kind of peer-to-peer type tools that I translated into Spanish, just to give someone a way to kind of make it theirs and talk to them. So first question is, "Hey, how's things going? Like, you doing all right?" "Oh yeah, I'm fine," because that's
what you say.
Yeah, and it's really kind of more of a greeting, right? Like, "Hey, how you doing?" It's not like really care, right?
Right.
But then if you take a second and you pause and you make that connection and you're like, "Jennifer, seriously, like, how are you? Like, is everything going all right? Like, you seem a little bit off." And not that that's always going to work, but that's a different connection, right, than just a casual,
absolutely,
"How you doing?"
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of labeled fine as maybe one of the more dangerous words in regards to the mental health side of it, is because it's an easy way to just, I felt like I said something, I felt like I answered, but nobody even slowed down for it,
Right. Yeah, and we don't even think about that. We don't. We get so busy, and like I said, I think right now what I like is that we're incorporating this part of our safety programs, right? Because this is safety too. This is mental safety. This is something that's super important, and I hear more and more people talking about that and saying, you know, we need to do something. Now, I've read some of your articles and stuff. It's not enough to put up a poster. It's not enough just to have a video and tell everybody, hey, watch this video, and then, you know, get back to work. Why don't those things work?
So I think they do work, and this isn't an indictment on the current structure, you know, but I think, and I can give you a great example, but our company is coming out with a program for Wellness Week, and they're going to be sending out an email and sending out some data. But as I listened to what the program was, there's not a really good probability that the guys and gals in the field are going to be able to tune in for an hour and then go through a survey or what have you. So it's not applicable. So the clinical side, I think it's more of a translation issue, I think, right? A trust issue. And a lot of them were focused on AI and how's AI. And then when we talked about mental health, they're like, hey, we gave them some apps. Like they have apps, we paid for those apps. Like those are supposed to fix everything. And we've got websites and data, and you know, we put a poster in the porta potty, so if you go in sad, you come out happy. It's like, what? I don't know if that's exact.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're like, look, we've pulled out all the stops, and it's like, okay, well, how's that working out, right? Why are the statistics so high? Who's, I call it like, I'm the last mile, or, you know, the bridge, so to speak, to try to lead with my story, which kind of opens up and potentially makes it a little more receptive, like, oh, so it's okay, like something happened to him. And then kind of follow that up with like a peer-to-peer conversation. And then if you can kind of make that maybe more of a checklist or a KPI for the actual job site, then I think you'll find more traction around it, because it does no good to have the best life jacket on a boat if it's not given to you before you drown, right? Mm-hmm. So I think we currently look at mental health and those types of things as a reactive. So we push, right? But we don't pull. And so when you push, if you push a string, it's gonna go all that way. But if we try to help shift the culture and make it comfortable and accessible and relatable, then we can kind of pull them into these programs as opposed to trying to shove it down, which just doesn't work.
Yeah, you said something interesting about translating, and I see in your work and stuff you talk about being a safety translator. What does that mean?
Well, that's just kind of a really cool way of buzzwording or keywording, like what I think that it actually is. So no different than you. I mean, if this guy or gal has an app, like they're not going to want to use it. So like when I've been into some trailers, and boss would come in and say, hey, we paid for this tool, like nobody's logging in. All right, everybody get out your phone, log in. All right, I don't care what you do with it from there, but I don't want to hear it anymore. So now we've got, our statistics went up for logging in. But look, if you're doing a survey or an anonymous, they know you can track the username, they know you can track the IP address. Some of them don't even know what EAPs are, and they're scared to ask, right? So there's some really cool tools, but if it's not translated, if it's not trusted, then there's really no chance that they're gonna use those things. And I think that's what we're seeing.
Right. And so it's the personal relationship. It's that step further. Who's responsible for that, do you believe, on project sites?
Well, I mean, I think we all have a personal responsibility for checking ourselves up, right? Because it is a profession, it is a career. So you're never going to be able to leave everything at home. But I think, a lot of it lies with the individual and being a professional. But as far as the job site goes, I'll give you an example. We're pretty good at physical PPE. I mean, yeah, there is a ton of money, research, and time on every different type of glove you could think about. We've got a $30 piece of plastic that can protect us from, a brick or something falling.
And 30's cheap. A lot of them are more than that.
Yeah, well, people are cutting corners. You'd be surprised. But there's really no money or time or effort spent on the human underneath the hat, right? Yeah. The fire that's going off inside, and so to the responsibility, I think the employer feels responsible for physical PPE, and I think that they probably have a huge stake in making sure that that's transferable to the culture and the field.
Right. Are you seeing any of this incorporated into morning huddles, safety talks, toolbox talks? Like, are people doing that? Are you seeing that on sites?
Not really. I mean, in my scope, right? I mean, I'm not saying that that's not happening. I know there's a lot of programs out there to potentially, bring in like a little trailer or something where you can go in and listen to music, and you can, sit with a candle or something. They're trying a little bit of everything going on. But yeah, no, I guess I'd equate it to, you said you travel a lot, right? So when you flight attendant come out to do the safety demo. Mm-hmm. How's that work for you?
Yeah, I don't watch it.
Do you pull the pamphlet
I'm usually
out?
engrossed in whatever I'm reading for work.
Right. That's our current safety toolbox talks. That's
Yeah.
our current safety demos. It falls flat. It's lame. It's not fresh. It's hard to believe. The person telling it doesn't feel it anymore. Slip, trips, and falls, chute handling, finger management, all those, it's the same,
right?
Hydrate, stretch. All those things are considered, physical health things, but mental health is also like maintenance, right? So it's breathing, it's taking care of yourself, whether it's therapy, it's, talking things out. Mental illness is the crisis. So like physical health, taking care of, making sure you've got all the equipment. Mental health, focusing on things, clearing your mind, whatever that may look like. But physical injury, you go to the doctor, you go to get it fixed. A mental injury is that internal fall, that crash. So if we can work on both in a similar way, then I think, and that's where I say translating means if you come in as a peer and you create a champion in that trailer or on that site, then those guys and gals will help push that message, which is a lot easier than it is coming from HR.
Right, absolutely.
You still need that, but if you genuinely want it to take effect, it's got to come from one of them in a language that they understand.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing. I think it's putting it in the language that they understand and talking about real life and real things that they can relate to. From the people that are their peers, like you said, their colleagues and who I'm at work with, being able to talk about that. So I think it's a lot of it's just this stigmatism about talking about mental health or anxiety or anything that falls under that umbrella. I think it's us just trying to break that down in an industry that is very much known for their bravado. And, I can do it, I can do anything, I'll just push through. Because we are a safety-focused industry.
Absolutely.
When you look at everything that we've done through the years and how far we've come, I just think this is an aspect that's having to do a lot of catch-up. Like, we didn't have it as part of the safety umbrella.
Yeah, and that's normal in any industry. There's always going to be gaps and things that are missing, so not only is it a true translation, a lot of times there's different cultures on the site.
Yeah, that's true.
So, again, I think if we look at it from a macro perspective, physical safety in general, that's great. But if it's not set up in a way where the person can understand it or feels good with it, then there's a miss. So I'm not sure of all the answers to it, but I know given the stats and given the history, Jennifer, I feel like we've hit a ceiling with what we've done. And what I want to try to do is create a new floor where people go, hey, we still need the ceiling so the floor doesn't crush, meaning all the things we've done are good. But if we don't shift gears on it and actually drive it, then it's going to end up being another reactive thing where rework, reputation, near misses, cutting corners.
All the operational risk.
All the risk, and OSHA issues and all those kinds of things that, just from a true business standpoint, makes financial sense to be proactive and not reactive like we are on the physical side.
I've just traveling around at some of the conferences. The good news is there are some very large contractors that I have talked to, that I've heard, they've presented of what they're doing, and they're really getting focused on this topic. I know that the Associated Builders and Contractors have their Total Human Health program, where they're actually training people at their chapters to be that advocate, that trainer, and that person that helps the members in that state get up to speed on what they can do. One of the interesting, and this has been a while, that there was an organization, a contractor that I heard about, that what they did in the summertime was they hired at-risk counselors from high schools and stuff to come and work on their project sites. How interesting is that? They literally took these at-risk counselors that know what it is to identify someone at risk, something's wrong, and they started it, and I thought, that is pretty innovative. Pretty interesting way to get education to know about construction and lend a hand and give people a job over the summertime too, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think if you're brainstorming on different ways to try to come at this issue, potentially that's one good avenue, right? And if not, let's just say that maybe doesn't hit,
everyone,
right?
Yeah.
It's going to land with a little bit of people, then we pivot and we go another route. And no different than anything else, we're going to experiment until we find a pretty good recipe. And then here's something too, right? One size fits none. Yeah. Okay, so even though it's a job site, there could be a whole different dynamic that might work and might not, right? So I think, we keep trying to go towards the end goal, but there's going to be certain things that work in an environment or a different segment of the business than it would another. But as long as we keep pushing forward with different ideas, like you said, a lot of these larger companies, I know Deere, Caterpillar, Bechtel, Turner, DPR, like a lot of them are starting to put focus on that, and hopefully that follows through.
Absolutely, no, I totally agree. If there's a contractor listening and they're just like, what should first step be? Do you have any suggestions for someone that's looking for a first step?
Yeah, so I think I would start with mental health focused and like as if it was a KPI. So, when we're doing these safety meetings and a lot of those things, it's typically, at least on the ready mix side, hey, we're getting ready to start pouring for the day. So we're starting at 10 o'clock or midnight for DOT work, infrastructure, and then we're going to roll into mat pours and warehouse, big stuff. But then there's a gap. So let's do the safety meeting at 4 o'clock, right? So at 4 o'clock, are you in the best focused mode as right? And then if you can't make it, then the plant team is going to say, hey, I'll get you as a one-off, like,
right.
So when you come in to go to the bathroom, I'm going to go, hey, mental health man, are you doing all right? Like, then when you come back out, it's like, hey, I just want to make sure you focus. Like, so I think if we actually put it as a protocol, when you come on site, when you log in or you clock in, that someone's going to make connection with you and go, hey man, just checking on it, you doing all right? You can use my 5 tools or 5 open line openers, but if you make that connection and through time, that culture will be like, hey, actually, I'm kind of struggling, man. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night, and I've got some personal stuff maybe you don't want to hear about, but I don't know if I feel completely comfortable getting on the loader today.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, you can either go, well, then get your ass on the loader, and we're going to take our chance, or you could go, well, what would you have me do? I don't know. I mean, maybe I go home for a while, and whatever that looks like.
Or maybe just you don't get on the loader, we have someone else get on the loader and you do something else right now that's not.
Yeah, would you be comfortable cleaning the yard or like some of the maintenance activities? But if that becomes more of the culture.
Right.
Because right now the culture is the schedule. But if the culture begins to shift through conversation or making it as if the physical check. So when we walk around do a 360 around the vehicle and those kinds of things, I think if we put those same protocols into at least just touching base, and you can do that tomorrow,
No, it's a great idea. I mean, that's really interesting too, the 360 of the vehicle and the driver. Well, include the driver in the 360 so that you're asking questions about him or her.
Well, here's an example, right? If you walk around there and it's got a flat tire, are you going to go drive it anyway? Right?
Yeah.
If we see an engine light come on, right, we're going to go, hey, maybe we need to have someone look at it. Well, same thing with with a human. Like if you come in red-eyed and like, you know, I've been fighting with my kids all night, and it's like, oh man, like, you know, you could tell something's wrong. I mean, you're not going to send him and go, all right, well, head on up to that, you know, the 20th floor and let us know if you need anything. Make sure you dehydrate and stretch, right? So, I mean, that's the reality is we aren't necessarily taking care, not because we don't want to, because we don't care. It's not because it's a weakness, but it's schedule like and just not a comfortability of like protocol for it, you know, like.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You have a lot of good tools, a lot of good articles. Where's the best place for people to go and see what you have made available?
Yeah, thank you. So again, it's a work in progress, and I'm trying my best to add value to the overall topic and see if I can, you know, help people. Back to originally, I learned that I didn't want a way out and a way up, right? So that's kind of been a tagline that's gotten a lot of traction and reception. Also along that same route, I said, hey, you know, I went and chose the exit, but someone gave me a ladder. So some of those terms, you know, I'm utilizing and I'm seeing it connect a little bit better. So back to the translation, some of those terms are kind of helping the concept like click. But that said, I've got my LinkedIn, which is Scott Evans. That's a pretty common name, so you know, look for a bald guy with a construction hat on. I've also created my own website called scottevansspeaks.com. Long story how to get that, but yeah, if you could go on there, I've got the free bilingual translated tools that can kind of get you going, and then I'd love the feedback. And every time I get a comment or somebody reach out, I read it in entirety and I make sure that I get back with them. So I'd be more than honored. And if you've got feedback for me on how I could improve the message, then I'm always open to that as well.
No, that's great. That's great. And you're working with us, and we're doing some things because we have the course Talk Saves Lives. That's a free course, and we're trying to improve that and do what you said about that peer-to-peer connection and everything. So we've got a lot going on, separately and together.
Oh yeah.
Trying
and
to
that's
help
how
with
that's
the
how I
industry.
learned about you all. I was listening to some of those. So.
Yeah. No, that's great. What you even have a poem. So you said something about a poem earlier.
Well, anyway, how this was going to apply was kind of a like way up, way out, and it was going to be an example. So if you want to do it. But one of the gentlemen I had always kind of followed was Dr. Wayne Dyer. And he was kind of a self-help guru, but he was really, really cool. And the way he told his stories and the way he related was, I don't know, something that connected with me. Well, one day he was talking about, honestly, that's pretty sad, but I don't remember exactly the specifics of it. But he told me about, or he told the audience about an autobiography written in a brief way by a lady named Portia Nelson. Chapter 1, I walk down the street, there's a deep hole in the sidewalk, I fall in. I'm lost, I'm hopeless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. Chapter 2, I walk down that same street, there's a deep hole in the sidewalk, I pretend I don't see it, I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. I still fall in. It's a habit, but my eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I'll get out immediately. Chapter 4, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5, I walk down another street.
Wow.
And so
that is like really poignant.
That's pretty cool, right? I mean, maybe you're not going to read that in a trailer, right?
Right, but that happens.
But that's the reality of everything we deal with, whether it's addiction, whether it's learning something new.
Yeah.
So for me, that I always
breaking
get
the
goosebumps.
cycle. It's breaking the cycle. It's habitual, and when you get in those habits of bad choices, same choices, and never being able to see that, really see it in advance, if you see it when it's too late, then that's what happens.
But at least like in this point, like you found a way out.
Yeah.
But if not, how many people of us continue to walk on the same? It's not my fault. It's and we become
take responsibility and make
right.
choices. Yeah.
We become the mask that we wear. So anyway.
No, that's really good. Well, I really appreciate you being here today. I'm glad that you came in. I'm looking forward to all the stuff we're going to do together.
It's an honor. Thank you.